This episode of Seniors Today is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Welcome to Seniors Today, a talk show focused on what seniors and their families need to know to live their very best lives. I'm Denise Vaughn, the administrator at HomeWatch Caregivers Home Care, and with me are my co-hosts Alan and Lisa. Alan Hoffman is the co-owner of Oasis Senior Advisors. He's an expert in helping seniors and their families find their very best community for their needs. Lisa Stover is the founder of Presto Real Estate Services. She helps seniors experience a smooth transition to their next phase of life. Research shows leading an active life as a senior can reduce illness, decrease risks of dementia, and add years to your life. So today, we're talking about all the fun activities that our seniors in the community love to do. Welcome, Debbie. We're so glad you could join us today.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So
Glad
excited.
to have you,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, even just today, I was at a presentation and it was really about brain health. But as we were kind of seeing what could really improve brain health, one of the things that really struck me was dancing. So it said it really helps kind of connect everything. Do you guys offer dancing as one of your programs?
Super fun, yes, and that's so true. And one thing that seniors are really interested in is brain health. If I offer any kind of a program on, brain activities, or, we have a brain gang that meets once a month and is led through puzzles. People are all over it. If you attach that, you're sure to get a crowd, because that's something that seniors are very well aware of.
So they're looking a little bit for physical fitness, but really.
Right, absolutely. And we do, on that note, we do have two great Zumba classes. We have a Zumba Gold and we have a chair Zumba. And so that is really
Super
taken
fun.
off. It's new and people are really, really enjoying it and trying it out. And I think, the more that we offer it, the more people are going to test the waters and try it out. We also,
Okay, are there men doing Zumba?
I don't think so, but we do have.
I might be signing up later. Who knows?
But they
do
just
have
love
other
to
classes.
be together too.
They do.
They love to
yeah.
just socialize, and what better way to do it than with music?
Absolutely, that's so true. And we do offer parties where we'll have line dancing and other kinds of dancing. So it's definitely that's spot on. There couldn't be more truth to that statement. So
No, I just thought dancing. I'm like, I'm not a dancer, but that sounded really fun and
Right.
something that we should all be doing.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
What are some of the other things seniors love to do, or how do they, how do you get your ideas?
Oh my gosh. Well, we get our ideas a lot from them. A lot of times things just kind of come, as you're talking or you see, them doing something, you think, oh my gosh, let's offer a program. It seems that everybody really likes to get together and make cards. That's one thing that we started doing. We make cards for soldiers. That's a big push that we do right before
great.
Veterans Day.
Yeah.
We donate them to Operation Support Our Troops. And, so people, again, it's kind of that brain, hand, coordination thing is awesome for everybody to do, but it's also giving back. And everybody wants to feel relevant, whether, and this gives them a purpose and a real want to help, and especially anything for the troops, but that has kind of lent itself to other card making and crafty kind of things, and that just
And what I love too, I'm just thinking, Lisa, I was just kind of thinking about, while we take care of a lot of seniors in their home and they are doing activities there, they're always looking for ways, to get out. And then I know, Alan, you work with folks looking for their next senior community. What kinds of things do they look for?
Yeah, I think the most challenging client that we work with is someone who's described as not so social. But I think we all are well aware that that's one of the greatest enhancements to a quality senior life is being social. We even saw that at the presentation today.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, you've probably run into a member or somebody who's joined that maybe was described as not social. How do you get people engaged, or do you see the transition of somebody who really gets involved?
Well, it's true. And it is tricky because they are reluctant. And, you have a couple different things. A lot of times people feel like they're not ready to come to a senior center.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's you know, the biggest thing. You have to kind of get over that barrier and have them come and see that people are just like them, and
First
it's full
time's
of
the hardest.
right. The full
Yeah.
the first time is the hardest, but it's so full of life, and so you know you can get there. You know, we have some seniors that are intuitive, and we'll kind of pair up or take somebody under their wing and pull them along. You know, and also when we have repeat programs like Lisa's, she
Right.
develops a relationship with people that maybe just come out to see her, and then it
Right.
kind of spurs to another level. So
I
so
think the
there's-
men love information. They like to come to a program where they're going to learn something
Well,
new.
you're there a
don't you?
lot.
I am there once a month,
Right,
and it's
yeah.
awesome. And we have quite a few men, but you'll see mahjong going on in the other room, and that's women.
Right,
A lot
right.
of the interactive events seem to be women, because I think women just do that easier. But the guys come when we have whatever it is. We recently did a cooking program.
Right,
And they
right.
all want to know, how do I eat healthier? How do I live a healthier lifestyle on my own? And it was really,
Right.
it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun, and they had a lot to offer. And a lot of these men cook, I think, more than women do
Yeah.
at this point too. That was
Wait, so are there
one thing that we
husband and
learned.
wives who come, or is it usually single men or single women? Do you ever notice any love connections?
Yeah, maybe, but yeah,
She's not saying.
What happens at the senior center stays.
You betcha. That is exactly it. But no, we have all of that. We have husbands and wives that participate. We have people that have formed friendships through
Yeah.
our group and
Because one of the things, my mom passed away, and my dad is by himself, and it's one of those things where I can't really imagine my parents necessarily going somewhere, because they kept each other occupied. But now that's one of the things. I sat down with him and I was like, Dad, you love pinochle.
Oh my goodness.
Let's, would you consider doing it? And he definitely, is starting to think about, okay, how do I do this? Now, the only thing is I think he wants like me or somebody
Yeah.
to go with in
They
the
need
beginning.
a little kick, right?
And yes, and that is actually one of my suggestions
Yeah.
for anybody, is to come with their parents. And we
Yeah.
really want you to do that, just to kind of pave the way, make the introduction. I mean, you can think about how you feel going into a new situation. I mean, it's no different for them. And it definitely helps, to have you along to navigate, maybe kind of start the conversation a little bit. But definitely, we have a very good pinochle group, and there are quite a few men.
I should go to that. I need to learn
Yeah, that
pinochle.
is one that has a lot of men in it. So,
Well, or starting something new. I said to my dad, I said, well, it's great, you love pinochle, so I was trying to get him excited. But then I started seeing these other things, and I'm like, if there's other things he could learn, that would be great.
Right.
Great.
Well, with that being said, what are the most popular programs for men? And then after that, you can offer what the women like.
Yeah, for men, they do a lot of the talks, anything
Okay.
educational. Movies, when we show those, are really a big one. The drop-in games, some of them are have a lot of men, the pinochle and,
Okay.
whatnot.
Are you doing board
So
games, or is it
we
mostly
do,
card?
mostly cards.
Okay.
We do some dominoes
Well, that makes
and
sense.
Rummy Cube.
Do you guys do like a Bears watching or some of the
We
sports?
do. We have
Yeah.
Sunday Fun Day once a
Fun Day.
month on a Sunday.
Oh my gosh, there's
we
so
open
much
up
fun.
for lunch, and we have games, and we do watch the Bears game on our big screen TV, and that's a lot of fun. And you will see a lot of couples, a lot of men, a lot of people coming out on that day. But and some of it is my avid card groups heard about this, and it's another day that they can get together to play cards. And so they
Before
come
or after,
or
you mean,
a
or-
lot of them don't even watch the game. They wouldn't
Oh,
even,
really?
but they're just there for the game playing. So we found Sundays are a tough day for seniors. They're looking, it's a long day. They're looking for something to do, and they just are willing to come out and really look forward to it. And it's kind of a different vibe. It's a lot more casual that day, and it's a lot of fun. So
Well, and Debbie has such a love for her seniors,
Right.
and it takes a special person to remain energetic and to offer that same enthusiasm day in and day out. And I think you found your calling for
I think
sure.
so.
They
Thank
adore
you. Yes, thank you.
Well, and I think
get
that's
as
why
much
it's
from
so
them.
successful, too. There are other
Absolutely.
programs out there, but when I come by, there's always high energy stuff going on. They're having fun.
Even if they're just reading the paper and drinking a cup of coffee. Some of
And
them
they're
just sit and do that and don't really engage. They just don't want to do it alone at home.
Absolutely.
So that was one of the statistics they talked about today, that isolation actually increases your risk of death as much as, was it 15 smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Like, that's
staggering?
such a strange way to think about it, that,
know.
you know, just by being with people.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that that's what's so important for us to tell our own parents. You know, sometimes when I hear about your programs here, I have a neighbor who is, you know, I feel like I never see her leave the house, and I'm just kind of thinking, what would it take to get her, you know, interested in doing something?
I know, it is
And we should
tricky,
all be
so-
thinking about that. You
Well,
know?
and they
Absolutely.
see some of the best shows. You guys
They
just
do.
went to
Well,
Hamilton, didn't
Oh,
you?
multiple times. Well, and we have the best seats, and you never have to worry about parking.
So,
you know,
I
it's,
mean,
yes, there's
might want to chime in there,
well,
right?
and,
Well,
you know,
how old do you have to be participating in these
50.
programs?
Oh, yeah.
I might know some people
Couple
who are
more
in.
years.
yeah. So, you know, we don't ask for ID, so.
Nice. Yeah.
But no, it is great. And well, we always like to kind of compare the center as like Cheers.
Yeah.
You know, it's a place you can come where everybody knows your name. You're always welcome. You know, we don't have beer, but we always have coffee. And, you know, it is a great.
In a real mug.
Yep, in a real mug, you know, but it's a great center, and it, you know, it's our whole staff. And you all who have worked with me know it's from our maintenance to our receptionist to our supervisors to our trip coordinator.
Yeah.
Everybody cares about the senior programs and the people, and stop and say hello. And I think that when, you know, it kind of comes back and forth. You know, we put that out and we receive it, and they look at it, and definitely people come by and say, I just need to get out of the house, and they knew they could come to
You
us.
just reminded me of a story, a family that we've been, you know, we were taking care of, husband, wife. The husband had a lot of physical things going on, and the wife seemed to be really depressed or had some memory issues going on. Really come to find out, she was burnt out as his caregiver. So sadly, he did pass away. And you know what she wanted to do? She wanted to start going on trips like that. Like, she's like, you know, I couldn't go. I couldn't leave him. I felt bad. And then here, you know, when he did pass, she almost kind of came full circle, because she could try to do some of the things that she wanted to do, and she had a reason to do her hair and her makeup, and kind of live that chapter of her life that she might have missed.
Absolutely.
So it's great that, because she would never do that on her own.
And there's so
Right,
much of
right.
that going on.
Oh, there is.
And we're only going to see it escalate in the next several years. I don't think that this is going to change.
Oh,
a
no,
whole lot.
no.
Yeah.
You know, I think my behavior, because I've got a aunt who I'm power of attorney for, and I think this conversation helps me think about maybe pushing a little more in being social. There's only so much you can do.
Really help. You guys, this was so
That's
wonderful.
true. Yeah.
Thank you, Debbie, for giving us ideas on what, you know, our parents could be doing, what our neighbors could be doing. We're really glad to have you here. We'll be right back with more Seniors Today.
In Naperville, we know that community counts. In fact, it's in our name. As Naperville Community Television, we have the privilege of showcasing what makes this award-winning city a wonderful place to raise a family, to make a living, and to enjoy life's journey. That's why it's our mission to capture on camera those special moments that connect us. Those stories that impact our lives, stories you won't see anywhere else. So watch Naperville Community Television on air, online, and on social media.
Welcome back to Seniors Today. The number one concern of seniors and their families is medical care and its cost. Joining us now is Colleen Ceh Becvar, a gerontologist and the owner of Trinity Advocacy Group, LLC, to discuss some of the most important Medicare changes. Welcome, Colleen.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I mean, the first thing I have to ask you is, can you tell us what a gerontologist is and what they do?
Yes, I can. Okay, so I'll tell you what it's not. So a gerontologist is not a geriatrician. So a geriatrician is to older adults what a pediatrician is to children. A gerontologist has studied aging from multiple perspectives. So the psychology, sociology, and certainly the biology of aging. Also the ethics and the economics of aging. That, plus my 26 years of experience in the field and my master's of science in gerontology, the study of aging, makes me a gerontologist.
Wow. You are the right person for this conversation and for us. I mean,
Thank you.
Partly why we love really working with seniors is it really helps us with our own parents.
Sure.
So I'm thinking, okay, how do I get my dad connected to a gerontologist for sure?
Well, not just maybe a gerontologist, but also best practice for your dad and our seniors would be to find that geriatrician. That's pretty tough to find, although there's some great ones out here in the suburbs, so we're so lucky.
Well, one of the things that's even coming up right now is really my dad's Medicare program and what I need to be doing to help him and make sure he's getting the most out of the benefit. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened, for 2020? Any big changes that people need to know about?
I know this will be shocking for everybody, but the cost did go up.
Oh,
yes, it did. We did have some increases in our Medicare Part B premium, and you're not going to see an increase really ever in Medicare Part A. You might in the deductible, but you and I, we've all paid for that throughout our lifetime. So Mr. FICA on your paycheck, you're paying into that Medicare right now in your paycheck. So you'll never see an increase in that premium. That's $0. But Medicare Part B, as in boy, for your physicians, that did go up slightly, about $13.
For all plans?
For all, everybody on Medicare Part B went up. Now, are you talking about the supplemental plans then in terms of?
Yeah, I'm just trying to know overall what's changed.
Because it's a maze.
Because it is a maze.
It's
depending
a maze.
on your plan,
Maze.
right? You bring up a good point, right? Because some people have supplements, some people don't.
Yes, right. So what else has changed? We were talking a little bit about drugs for seniors, prescription drugs.
Right.
Those that are supposed to be covered by Medicare Part D. D as in drugs. So you may have heard of this thing called the donut hole.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a coverage gap, and that was really under President Obama's term. He put into place all of these solutions that are going to reduce this thing called the donut hole. And the donut hole was a coverage gap in a person's Medicare Part D coverage, which made them pay 100% of their prescription drugs out of pocket during this time, during this by design, the coverage gap. So what the Affordable Care Act did was many things, but for the donut hole or Medicare Part D, it shrank that Part D coverage gap to nothing in 2020. Which is a big deal.
A big help.
It's
a huge help for so many.
About how much, does that save seniors then?
$5,000. Because
that's a big thing.
That was the coverage gap when it was initially rolled out, Medicare Part D. That coverage gap required the senior to pay $5,000 out of their own money for that coverage year, and they would not get relief until they paid that $5,000 out of pocket. And so that if you ever fell into that coverage gap called the donut hole, you would do that year after year after year. And so it's been really 10 years in coming, closing this coverage gap. So it's good news. So
essentially a deductible.
Yes, effectively, but it happened in the middle of the coverage year. So you might have this great coverage January, February, March, April.
And then all of a sudden.
Really around July, we'd start seeing people have zero coverage. No, it wasn't a copay. It was you paid that full price of your drugs at the pharmacy until you hit $5,000 out of pocket. And the only reason that Medicare D started kicking back in is that person then hit what was called by design the catastrophic out-of-pocket expense. So $5,000 is catastrophic for some people to hit that out-of-pocket expense every year.
But the news is good.
The news is good.
So we don't have to deal with that anymore. That's good news for our seniors.
It is excellent news. I'm delighted about that.
And what else? What else is changing?
So what else is changing for Medicare during this upcoming year is we really have had more of a rollout in something called our Medicare Advantage plans. And let me just back up that people usually have two ways to really take advantage of Medicare. One is traditional Medicare with supplemental coverage, and that represents 75% of our seniors have that type of coverage. So traditional Medicare with a supplemental and a Medicare Part D. Or you have the remaining 25% have what's called Medicare Advantage. And the advantage is in part that you get all of your coverage in one card. So you get your A, your B, your supplemental, and your Part D for drugs in one plan. And that's one of the advantages. Under Medicare Advantage, the government subsidizes that. The government pays a private insurance company to administer all of those benefits that I just described. So one of the things that has changed there is a person can get dental coverage in some Medicare Advantage plans, vision, believe it or not, those two things, and hearing. And hearing, none of those are covered under traditional Medicare.
So is that dependent upon the company that you choose?
Yes, it is.
Okay, well,
And
that's pretty big news.
And what benefits they want to offer. That's exactly right. That's exactly
Well, we're even
right.
noticing in home care, just last year, they started approving some benefits for home care, but we're kind of looking at what it might be for this year, you know?
There was a small expansion. That's great, yes, because one of the things that I think really makes the difference for some seniors is whether or not they're able to get help in their home. But some people don't want to pay for that or can't afford to or just decide to try to get along until they hit a crisis point, and that's when a lot of us start seeing seniors and their families when they hit that crisis point. So Medicare Advantage has now started offering expanded hours in the home care arena.
Oh, I mean, great, because I think the goal is to try to keep our families safe and out of the hospital, and if
and they want to stay home.
They do.
They don't want to. They don't want to relocate. At least it's not their first choice. They want to be in their home
until something possibly changes.
Right.
Yeah. So you're an expert in this, but when families, or I would say when seniors are trying to figure out what they should do, who do they talk to? How do they get help? I mean, the good thing is there's so many seniors who love the internet and they're on it all day and they can figure things out. But, I think about my own dad, and he plays poker on his computer, but he's never checked out a website, right? So how do they find help?
So if a person is computer savvy and they're not intimidated by that at all, what Medicare has also rolled out this year is called e-Medicare.
Oh.
And so they're going to be
That's new?
That is new this year, yes. And so that is something that people can get on and sort of navigate their way through looking at these different programs to see whether or not they are on the best plan. Now, I will say, here we are in January 2020, so we really won't have the opportunity to make that analysis again until October of this year.
Right.
So we are just just finishing up that Medicare enrollment. But for people who are not as savvy or don't have family perhaps to help them through that, they can go on to, they can find a SHIP counselor, so Senior Health Insurance Program. SHIP with a P. With a P.
SHIP.
Yes, SHIP. Like the good SHIP lollipop. So if you connect with somebody who's a senior health insurance provider, and there are many different options right here in DuPage County to be able to do that. I'm very happy to say that. Call your DuPage County Senior Services and they'll connect you with someone. But there are many different places that you can go, whether it's senior centers, the park districts, a variety of places have sponsored spaces for senior health insurance providers who are non-partisan. They are not there to sell you a program. They are just really there to help usher you through your questions about Medicare, because as we know, it's very complex.
I know some townships have counselors as well, and my father-in-law, when he retired from State Farm had their own SHIP counselors as well.
That's great.
So people should check all the many different options out there.
Yes, absolutely. And somebody asked me before if I have a SHIP counselor at my office, and I never thought about that, but I can certainly do that. It would be a wonderful way to serve the community, but we don't have that yet. But I love the idea of a person calling and getting a SHIP counselor in their area, if you like that face-to-face.
And it is one-on-one. So you make an appointment
one-on-one,
and you
yes.
get a one-on-one consult. So you're not, inundated with other people's questions and their needs, right?
That's
you get
exactly
they,
right,
They
Lisa.
deal exactly with
Do you bring like your health history or what?
Actually, so the SHIP counselor will tell you what you need to bring,
Okay.
but you're absolutely right. It's about a half hour to 45 minutes that you get that one-on-one with that SHIP counselor. If you're really looking at your medications, they're going to give you some information that they want you to bring. They're going to plug that into Medicare.gov. They don't have a fancy system beyond the tools that are really available to all of us, but you have that person talking you through it.
Right. So helpful.
Yes. Yeah, they're really great.
I feel like I'm getting glossed over just sitting here talking about it now. And
Is that because I'm not riveting?
No,
Oh,
you
okay.
are riveting. Very riveting.
I needed
We
to
just-
know.
It's so much. I mean,
It is.
right?
It's so much.
And, I mean,
Exactly.
we're not doing it necessarily for ourselves now, but definitely
Right.
for your parents. I mean, I know you've helped your mom try to decide what's the right thing, given her medical
it's
condition.
overwhelming. It's overwhelming. Medication is overwhelming, and we were discussing that earlier. That you just, over time, it's hard for them to advocate for themselves.
Sure.
A lot of those folks walking into the SHIP office can do that. They can.
Yes.
But
I'm really glad you brought that up because SHIP also offers phone consults. So a
nice.
person could be sitting in the comfort of their own home if they
Okay.
feel comfortable doing that, or a loved one can be doing that for someone.
That's good to know.
Leverage a
And I'm
SHIP
not sure
counselor.
we've mentioned it. It is free though, right? The SHIP counselors are
100%
free.
free.
Okay.
Absolutely it is. Thank
Well,
you.
one of the things we're all part of the Naperville Lisle Triad, and one of the goals there is to avoid scams. And that
Yes.
has actually come up because sometimes people will represent that they're going to help a family or seniors,
good point.
make their plan, and they charge a lot of money.
There is no reason that someone should need to pay for
Okay.
Medicare counseling, either through Medicare.gov, through 1-800-Medicare, or through the SHIP option.
That's-
All three of those are very reputable
Right.
resources.
Nice.
Oh my, I'm so glad. And actually the SHIP resource, I mean, I've heard about it, but I didn't realize it was free. I
Yes.
didn't realize all the options that we had in DuPage County. So Colleen, thank you so much for giving us all that information. I think it's going to be really helpful. Thank you. And thank you to all of you for joining us on Seniors Today.